Hello and welcome to this paint and sip. My name's Ellen, and hopefully by the end of this, you guys will have a lovely painting for you to take home. This is my first time actually running a paint and sip, so this is just um, me in the background showing you how to set up everything. Um, so as you've seen, I've got two different types of paintbrush, a bigger one and a smaller one, just so I can get some details and also paint the background. I've got a palette and some water. Um, and now I'm laying out my palette for you guys to see. Um, I put the black and dark blue on the left, just so the darker colours are next to each other, and then my red, yellow, and white on the right hand side that you'll see in a minute. I don't know why I do it like that, but I've been doing it like that since I was younger, as that was how I was first taught, just in case the colours mixed. But yeah, I hope everyone's having a lovely day, and I hope you all enjoy following along with this tutorial. Okay, so now we have our palette laid out, we're ready to start. So for the background, initially I start mixing together some dark blue and black. I do this until I have a colour that I like. So by doing that, you'll see in a minute, I do add some yellow and some red just to make it a slightly more interesting colour than just blue and black. But you're welcome to play around, do whatever you like. You don't even have to follow the tutorial if you don't want to. Um, but I'm just mixing together some paint for the sky. Um, I find it's probably better to mix more paint than you need than less, as it's quite hard to match the colours up if you run out. And I'm working on foam board instead of canvas, so you might need to mix more paint than me as well, as you just want enough to cover the whole area. So I start putting on paint, going from the top left hand corner towards the bottom right, but not going the whole way down. So I'm leaving a little gap for the snow, as you can see me doing here. So you mark out the area that's going to be sky, leave the area that's going to be snow. You get to decide how high up you'd like to do that. Tried it first time, decided it wasn't high enough, um, but you can just go for it. I add a little bit of water to the mix, to see if it will make the paint go further, because it was not necessarily behaving the way it should have done. But yeah, you just kind of play it how you'd like. You can, yeah, as you can see, I kind of ran out of color, um, or ran out of paint. It wasn't necessarily going as far as I thought it was going to. Um, so I ran out of paint as well. So it's not necessarily all gonna go right first time, but just play around, mixing up the background colors, and yeah, you just do what feels right, do what feels good. Cool, so the background's almost finished. Next thing I'm going to do, just for finishing touches, is try and make sure that the background is kind of level, so that the snow's not on a massive tilt. I was working at an angle, so it was a little bit hard to see initially, but I've gone in and fixed that up. But again, doesn't necessarily have to be straight. You're welcome to do whatever you'd like. But the next step I'm going to take is just trying to make sure everything's kind of smooth. Or put in some texture if you'd like, up to you. But I'm going to take some white and add it to that mixture that I made for the background, and turn that into some snow. I tend to do this so that the colours in the piece tie into each other and they look more cohesive, because they've come from the same little puddles of colour. And it just, yeah, ties it all together in a little bit more of a fun way than mixing up a new puddle. You're more than welcome to mix up your own colours if you'd like. Yeah, you're welcome to do whatever you'd like. But I'm just putting on this lighter blue for the snow. I find a lot of time when painting, snow isn't plain white a lot of the time. It's got kind of blues or yellows in there, little undertones of colour that, yeah, don't make it plain white. So this is just a blue that we're going to use as the base. You'll see later we do go over it to try and add more colour and more reflections of like light bouncing off the snow and stuff. But we're starting out with this blue base. Okay, so what I start to do here is try something that doesn't necessarily work. I was trying to make like a lighter dark blue for the background so that it gave the illusion, once our lovely little tree is in place, it gave the illusion that the background was lighter, so it looked like the tree was almost glowing. But I found I couldn't do that from the original puddle I had, even with mixing other colours into it. So I think I ended up making my own separate puddle afterwards. But it just goes to show that stuff isn't necessarily going to go right the first time, so you may just have to do a little bit of trial and error, see what works, see what doesn't. And if something isn't right, you can see I test it in a minute, and then go, oh no, and panic, and completely change, completely start over, new little puddle of colour. Yeah, that was my attempt, and then figuring out what I could do to fix it. And my response was eventually just start again. So yeah, that's the aim, is to just find. I chose a little slightly more green color by adding more yellow to the blue, to make it look lighter, and look like possibly there are little fairy lights or something that are kind of illuminating the sky a little. But yeah, I've kind of put that around the center, as you'll see in a second. Oh yeah, now. Yeah, so slightly lighter area in the middle, to give the illusion that the tree's glowing a little bit. Cool. So next step is to add some snow to the background. As you can see, I'm still using that first little puddle of colour that I made initially, just to keep all the colours together. So I'm going in with some white and mixing that all together to get a lighter blue. And then I'll take my smaller paintbrush for the first time, and get that onto there and just go around, not being too precious about it. Just go around the canvas, sparking out little areas of snow, Don't worry about the paint mixing together. Your background's probably not dry yet. It's just putting the snow down, going all over and having a little bit of fun with it. So it doesn't have to be fine snow if you don't want. It could be thick snow, heavy snow. Could only have a couple little spots if you wanted. This bit's up to you. But I just went round, yeah, putting in little bits of color in the areas that I thought needed them. If I was going back again, I probably would have put some colours over little drops of snow over the ground as well, but as you'll see later, the colours probably would have gotten covered up. But it would have been nice to have like a little bit more of the snow everywhere on the canvas instead of just in the sky. Once I've absolutely gone to town putting all those little drops of snow in, I'm going to take some more white and get a lighter blue. So that same first puddle, mix up a lighter blue, and I'm just going to go over some of the drops of snow in the lighter area that we made earlier. So still giving the illusion that some of the snow is being illuminated by the tree that we're going to put in later. This is going to just lighten up some areas, make it a little bit more easy to read some of them in the dark. Also, it's just fun. Just all of the marks you've already made, just drawing attention to some of them. Good fun. But mostly, yeah, just putting colours in that central area. Just some of them will be covered up by the tree that's going in there in a minute. But if you can see them past your tree later on, it will give the illusion that there's some lights around. But yeah, again, it doesn't have to necessarily be on the ones that you've already made. You can make more if you'd like. But you're welcome to, yeah, to play around, go for it, do whatever you'd like. And I think I do go over again a third time. Again, all this will do is just bring out some colours. So that this colour I've put on now is slightly more green. Um, don't know why, just did it. But as you can see, it makes these snowflakes towards the centre look brighter and closer than the ones that are further away. And I'm not doing this very preciously, I'm just kind of putting the colour on there, as most of these will be covered up later, but nice to have a little bit of detail that you or the only person who knows is there is you. But yeah, I found this was quite fun. Once I finished adding the colour to the snow, I add it to the foreground in the snow. This is our first little highlight, so the area almost in between these two patches of colour is where I want the tree to go. This little puddle is my first attempt at making brown, or like a slightly more orangey, reddy colour, to try and add our first bit of shadow to the snow. But in the end, I almost do it and then find out I don't like it and start again. So just to show, this is just a process of trial and error, trying to find the colours that you find right. Yeah, I tried it, didn't like it, aborted, abandoned mission. So I then started out again. Uh, yeah, rinsed my brush, started out again with just a normal orange and yellow. Um, but yeah, what I'm trying to do is trying to make our first little reflection of orange or yellow that we see in the snow. So I find I make a nice little palish orange, um, more yellowy than red, I'd say, but a nice little orange, and I just put a nice little streak of it onto the snow. Um, you'll see in a second where it goes. But just to kind of, yeah, show the light kind of bouncing up off of the snow from the tree that will be there eventually. Next, we're going to mix up some of the shadows and some more of the highlights that are going to go onto the snow as they're bouncing up. So adding the dark blue to the orange, I'm making the shadows that go into the corner. of the piece, just to kind of focus the light and the attention into the center. I know it looks weird at the minute, but it will look all right later, or if it doesn't, we'll find a way to just cover it up. It may be covered up with some other colors later. But now I'm making this lighter yellow, slightly browny yellow, mixing together some of the orange that we had earlier, some yellow, some white, and just mixing those together to make a nice little colour that we're going to put on the other side of the canvas to kind of bounce out the trees and the lights and stuff. So as you can see, I'm putting the colours, the lighter colours closest to the surface of the snow, because those colours are going to reflect the most. I then go and make a lighter one as well. But yeah, these colours are just going to come together on the snow, just show a reflection between the lights and the snow as it keeps bouncing backwards and forwards. But yeah, you are welcome to use whatever colour you like, or not do this at all if you don't want to. I found that the yellow I'd put down initially wasn't quite bright enough for what I wanted, so that was what this yellow is for. Just showing the highlights again, and just being playful and playing around with where all the colours were going. But as you can see, those layers of orange, yellow, and lighter yellow are kind of giving the appearance of a reflection and light in the snow already, and the tree isn't even there yet. As you can see, this is just a little bit of a process of trial and error. I decided that afterwards I wanted to add more of that light green that we put down first, but that wasn't light enough, so I've mixed together some white into the original mix, made it a little bit more blue, and I've just put that down as well to try and make the snow look a bit lighter than the dark blue that was there originally. But again, it's just a process of trial and error. The colours will mix together. They might not look right necessarily, but all of it together in the end will make the process all worth it, and we will get the outcome that we want. So now we are finally going to mix together the colours that we need for making the tree, the bark of the tree. So that will be some orange, some yellow, and some black. I've done it originally. I make quite a semi dark brown, medium dark brown, that I then go over later to try and lighten up the trunk a little bit. As you can see, yeah, getting a good mix of brown and blue to try and balance out this brown. I do adjust it in the end a little bit, I think. This isn't too important as you don't see very much of the tree trunk in each of the in the painting, but you're welcome to choose whatever colour you'd like. But yeah, mixing together the colours until I find one that I like, and then painting on the tree trunk from the snow going up. You're going to pick up little bits of blue as the paint probably hasn't dried yet on your paintings, but that's fine. Again, not all of it will be seen. It's just trying to make it how you would like it. But yeah, as you can see in mine, I end up picking up quite a lot of blue, but that actually helps quite a bit because it's giving us a little bit of a fake shadow without having to do anything. But yeah, so I make my tree trunk in, and then I find a little bit of lighter orange, mix that in, and I use that to try and make a false highlight even. So I go over parts of the tree trunk that would be most exposed to light, and I try and make those lighter. As you can see, me trying. That nice brown there. Try and make those areas lighter and leave the rest of it more in shadow. Okay, now we get to the fun bit. So taking that brownie color that we had earlier, um, we're gonna start or mixing the white win with it. Um, we're gonna try and make a mid tone for the leaves. Um, this isn't the color I ended up using. I thought it was too light. Um, yeah, so I changed my mind in the end. I went for mixing that white color that we mixed and adding it to the brown highlight. I find that was easier for me because I could then choose to make it lighter or darker if I wanted. Um, but I'm just going around the base of the tree. You can go as many or as few strokes as you want. Um, I'm aiming for 5 layers, but you can go as many as what you want. This is your tree. Um, but just going in motions, kind of pointing towards um, the center trunk, just going around and making all of the branches and leaves and stuff of the tree. You will again be picking up the blue, but it doesn't necessarily matter as much at this point, as long as you just kind of go with it, have fun with it. I find leaving a little gap between the top of the bunch below to the bunch above makes it a little bit more interesting to look at. As you see, I've done there. But again, you're welcome to have whatever kind of tree you'd like. Um, but yeah, just repeat this process as you go up the tree towards the top. Amazing. So now we have our full tree painted in, the very base colour for this tree. Final thing I'm going to do with this colour is to just add a little bit more of it to our snow underneath to just kind of link the piece together a little bit more, make it a little bit lighter, and get rid of a little bit more of that blue. You're welcome to do this or not, up to you. Just makes the background or the snow just a little bit more interesting to look at. Okay, now I'm just going to top up my colours because I'm running out of some of them, but the only ones I'm doing is orange, yellow even, and white. Doing this because the next colour we're going to make is this light yellow that we're going to put on the right side of the tree. Um, so the right side of the tree is going to be more yellowy, the left side of the tree is going to be more blue or green. That will make it show which side is lighter and which side is in shadow. But first, we're just going to work on this yellow. Um, so I pick up some of the yellow that we mixed earlier just to add it in. I think I added a little bit more of yellow. Yeah, just mix those together, and then started on the right hand side of the tree, just going in and adding some highlights in the same kind of technique that we used earlier. So as you can see, I made my yellow a little bit more orangey, but I'm just going in with the same kind of brush strokes we used earlier, only on the right side of the tree to kind of add some colour and highlights in that area. So I'm just again going as we did before, and I'll go all the way up, leaving some areas of the base colour that we put in visible, but making more areas of light on this side of the tree. Cool. Now I'm going to take a little bit of that orangey yellow that we made earlier, add some blue to it, and try and mix up a nice greeny colour, light green, to try and add some shadow on the left side of the tree. I find I needed some more blue, um, but adding this slightly more vibrant green is going to help us actually make this look like a tree. Um, so I added mix up my color that I liked here. I'm doing this by eye, just purely what I think it would look nice. Um, so this is again just a process of trial and error. But that more vibrant green just makes it look a little bit more like a tree, a little bit more festive, and yeah. But again, I'm just going from bottom to top, covering up some of the areas around the base layer of colour that we put on originally. I then decided that this wasn't quite dark enough, so I'm adding quite a bit of blue to my green mix. And doing exactly the same technique again. This is going to make that area look a little bit deeper, give it more depth, and bring out more of those colours. Yeah, again, putting some of it into the snow, I thought it was a nice colour. Um, yeah, I didn't quite like the blue that I'd put into the corners originally, so this was me covering that up. But adding more shadows to the left hand side. The next thing we're going to do is mix some of that blue into our white and make a really quite light blue. Um, this is going to be us putting some snow and lights into the tree. Um, it's meant to look like lights, but I find afterwards looking at it, it looks a bit more like snow. It doesn't really matter which. You're welcome to either add little drops of colour like I do, or just kind of speckle over the top as snow again. but this lighter white is just going to go onto certain areas of the tree, just to give little spots of colour and little spots of light. Um, this doesn't have to be done particularly prettily. I've got a square brush, so it's quite hard to make a little circle. So I just kind of got quite a bit of thick paint and just dotted it on. Um, but yeah, did that. You can get it from bottom to top, whatever kind of method you'd like. Just kind of evenly-ish spacing out all of the areas. It doesn't even have to be even. You can do whatever you'd like. Once I got to this point, I realised I wanted a little bit more orange in the tree to kind of make the snow orange make a little bit more sense. So I tried to mix up a nice little orange um, to also dot back into the tree, um, which is what I'm doing now. I found that the orange I was trying to make wasn't quite working, so I've started again, but just making a brighter orange to using the same technique we did for the tree originally, just kind of making everything that was orange on there a little bit more bright, um, and putting some more colours back into the ground and into the tree. I found a random bit of blue in there that I didn't quite know how I'd gotten there, so that was what was happening there. But I'm just going to mix that up again and put some more orange dotted around into the tree to kind of bring it all together. Final-ish touch on what I'm doing for this piece. I'm going to take some of the white. I've cleaned my brush and just taken the white, pure white as it comes out of the tube. I've got tiny bits of colour that have kind of made their way into there from me taking it earlier. But I'm just going to take the pure white, quite thick as you can see, and just do a smaller dot of the pure white over the top of the blue dots we made earlier. This is going to make them look a little bit brighter and a bit more like lights. And yeah, just dotting over all of the dots we made earlier. You're welcome to do this over the snow as well if you'd like. Um, but that's almost the final bit of this painting. As final touches, all I'm doing is taking that white again and adding more of a highlight onto the snow. I'm then going to take it and put a little bit more white onto some of the snow closest to the tree in the background. But after that, that is all for this painting. I hope you've all had a lovely evening and hopefully you've been able to follow along well. I hope you all enjoy your paintings and have enjoyed this painting process. This is my first time doing anything like this, so I hope it was successful and that you've all had fun. Um, I hope as well that everyone has a very lovely and happy holidays and that everyone has a lovely break. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've had a lovely evening and have a happy holiday.